If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lovely to talk to me. Funny lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore! And they're joining me right now on the air to talk about the new film, The Valiant One, opening in theaters nationwide Friday, January 31st. We have the producer, Alan Powell, and the star, Mr. Chase Stokes, joining us this morning. Guys, how y'all doing?
Doing well. How we doing?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Hey, well, congratulations on the film, man. Congratulations on it. It's a really interesting story. I mean, and Chase, if you don't mind, set it up for the people of this is a military story, but it's a little bit different than ones we've seen on film before.
Yeah, I mean, it follows a tech sergeant by the name of Edward Brockman. He's, traditionally sitting at a desk, sort of a version of a 9-to-5, gets put in a situation to where he has to go out into the field. And very quickly, his world shifts, and he now becomes the highest-ranking soldier in this group, and responsible for a lot of people's lives and getting people home safe.
And Alan, for you, when you're helping put this project together and wanting to tell this story on the big screen, what was it about the story that appealed most, that made you say, I want to make sure that people can see this, in the most theaters as possible. We need to tell this story. It's important.
Yeah, for me, the first time I wrote the script all the way through watching the final product, I was always moved to ask myself this question: could I do that? Could I step up in the way that Chase's character does? And he portrays it beautifully. But I always walk away with that personal challenge, and it was worth all the time and energy and effort to put this story together, to be able to hopefully put the audience in a situation where they're asking that really important question of themselves as well.
What's great about the film too is they're obviously is based on a true story. There's a lot of compelling parts to it. There's some comedy in there too. I mean, there's light moments. There's all kinds. You feel the range of emotions when you're watching this film. And Chase, I know too that you worked real closely. I believe the gentleman's name was Todd Sharbit. I think I'm getting that right. And he was the military expert on set. And I would feel like pressure would be on if I'm playing a military man and I'm against a master sergeant is watching me on the other side of the camera. Did you feel that pressure? And how important was he to making this film feel authentic?
I mean, he was the heartbeat of this film from the day we got off the plane and landed to go shoot this project. And more times than not, you can feel that pressure. But Todd is such a great human being, and at his core, beyond being a frogman for 25 years, he is a beautiful human being who loves storytelling. So I think for him, obviously his number one priority was focusing on the authenticity, but he really wanted us to make sure that we felt safe and comfortable and having a good time. And, beyond all of that, he's become a dear friend. So, started out a little bit nervous, but very quickly learned that he's just an incredible dude who, you want to go have a beer with after a long day of work.
Well, Chase, you're no stranger, obviously, to action and to stunt work and things of that nature. But what was the one thing from this movie that you found the most, at least when you were reading through the script, you go, oh, man, this is going to be a little intimidating having to try to pull this off? Or was there something like that?
I think, honestly, coming from a military family, my grandfather and my great-grandfather served, it was really about making sure that authenticity was consistent and from page one all the way through. Again, going back to what you said about Todd, when you have somebody like that who has been in the service for 25 years, that quickly starts to dissipate because you're with somebody who cares way more than you could ever imagine to care. So I think that was my biggest want to honor. And, going into action sequences, you can prepare as much as you humanly want, but when you get into it, there's nothing like, trying to simulate a firefight. So it was a new, challenging experience, but I had an absolute blast doing it.
Alan, you talked about when you first read the script, talking about wanting to get this story told and assist with it. How did this project kind of land on your radar?
My company, Monarch Media, is a financing producing company. And when my partner and I, Steve, started the company 5 or 6 years ago, Steve's been in the business for a long, long time. And this is honestly one of the first projects that he brought to the table. He's been passionate about it for a long, long time. The idea for the film came from him, actually. Todd, the military expert that Chase was just talking about, was a high school buddy of Steve's, and they reconnected at a high school reunion. And Todd told him a story similar to this, and that's how it all happened. So when we started this company, Steve said, "Man, I got this movie I've been wanting to make for years," and we all, myself and Steve and our third partner Vicky, were like, "Man, we gotta put wheels on that bus." And so we started that process, and it often takes a long time, and it did. But we're so glad that we're able to bring this thing to theaters.
And Chase, from the first time you read the script to actually acting, on set, getting through the scenes, I think I read somewhere that you and your co-star at times would even have maybe a little improv in there, but there was a great roadmap of a script. Is that something that you look for when you get on set to try to say, hey, you know what? This felt one way in the script, but I think, I guess I'm saying, have that collaborative approach with the director. Like, I think maybe we could do this or try this. And do you enjoy that kind of environment?
I do. I mean, art is the most collaborative, form of communication in my eyes. So, we had such an incredible script. I mean, the improv moments are just like the additions to what's already on the page. And sometimes they make the screen and sometimes they don't. But I was really fortunate that Steve is such a team player. And if something didn't feel right coming out of my mouth, or, like after shooting something, I was like, hey, what if we try it this way? He was so willing to be a shapeshifter and allow us to kind of make those edits. And Lana's just such a seasoned and gifted actress. So being able to work with somebody who knows the lay of the land, and her intuition and instinct in a scene is so spot on 99% of the time was a real gift. So I think, when I go into new projects, I'm always looking for, like, is it a character that feels specific to me? Is it a character that resonates in my core? Because usually specificity leads to a broader audience. I think if you have sort of a bland, blank slate character that feels like it can be a commercial sort of reach, it ends up not hitting the mark. So my want as an artist is to go into something and feel like this character is layered into his bones.
Well, you know what? That does come across on the screen. When I was watching the film last night, what stuck out to me, and I mean this in the best of terms, but I think that everybody, obviously knows Outer Banks. Outer Banks is a huge show. John B's a huge character, but I didn't see John B on the screen last night. You know what I mean? I did not see that at all. I saw, the character that you were portraying, the story that you were trying to tell, and I think that's really a testament to your acting ability, man. And so congratulations on that. I just wanted to make sure I told you that.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I think, you get very fortunate to tell a story for as long as I have with Outer Banks, but, I think the the beauty in the chaos is that a lot of people forget that I am an actor and sometimes connect so deeply with that character. And so, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Like, I'm very thankful because in that space, right, that means that I'm doing my job well. That means that when people are seeing John B before Chase, that they resonate with the character. So I think as my career continues to grow and doing roles like this, where you're able to see that it's not John B and it's another version of a character that comes out of, a script in my brain, that's like that continued universal wink to me saying like, hey kid, you're doing the right thing. So I appreciate you saying that.
Well, and one quick follow-up on that, when you play a character on television, you have, like you said, this long-form story where you can continue to develop and add new layers. In a film, theatrical film like this one, you have the 2 hours or whatever the time frame is to develop that story and tell that arc. Does that change the approach at all, or do you just play what's on the script and that should do the job?
I mean, yes and no. I think with Outer Banks, we never go into a season having the entirety of the entirety of it, right? Like we usually get like 1 or 2, if we're lucky, 3 episodes. And so choices, you sort of have to leave the putt a little short, so to speak, because if you commit too hard to one storyline, you're never really entirely certain if that storyline is going to play out. So I think I've really enjoyed diving into the world of films a little bit better because you have a definitive timeline. The script isn't changing in a way that is emotionally changing the trajectory of the character. Where it has a definitive start, middle, and end. So I think, in the films that I've had come out in the last couple of weeks, I think the difference and the large sort of telltale for me that I've gotten in the feedback is that there's a like real umph behind these characters. And I think part of that is because I can see where I can really punch in and I can see where I can really make a moment happen. And I've really enjoyed that because it's very satisfying. You know where it's going to go. You know how it's going to end. So you know where you need to find yourself.
Well, you know what, Chase, Alan, I really want to appreciate y'all for taking the time this morning to talk about the film Valiant One in theaters nationwide, Friday, January 31st. I come from a military family as well, so it's always great to see these stories told on the big screen. Congratulations to both you gentlemen and continued success.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.